So the purpose of this little interview here is to introduce everybody to Margaret Gray and find out a bit about Margaret Gray's journey. She's had a fantastic couple of months in the business. Margaret's a gold distributor. All right, she lives over in Grimsby near Hull. All right, so on the east coast, she lives over there. So Margaret's only got one half of the country to go at. All right, because the other half's all sea. All right, and then also last period, Margaret was the top sponsor. She's introduced 6 people last period in the 4 weeks, which is absolutely brilliant. That's why we've asked her to speak on here tonight, because she's earned the right. If you remember last week, we said we want speakers on here, but you've got to earn the position. Okay, Margaret has regularly had incomes, or has had biggest check is well over £1,000 for the month, and like I said, she's a gold distributor, and Margaret's sponsors are Andy and Sue Fountain. So Margaret, you've unmuted your mic, you're on your camera, so I'll just turn this off so that it goes to everybody. Okay. Okay, Margaret, so will you just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you've done in the past, how you came across kleeneze, a little bit of your background story, please.
Right. I work full-time as an internal sales engineer for an instrumentation company. We supply I don't know if you heard that. We supply the equipment to the oil industry and the chemical industry that they use to control the processes that they have. My husband was made redundant, and we needed to find a way of earning an extra income, and that had to fit around our existing commitments and our family. Okay, and I saw an advert on the internet, and I replied, and Andy gave me a call, and I joined. I'm on customer base. Okay, I've been with kleeneze for about 5 years, and I got to customer base using the catalogs.
Okay, fantastic. So you say you responded to an advert and you joined. What was it that you actually saw in the business that made you join? When Andy showed you the business, because I remember meeting you quite a few years ago when we first went to the Rob Foster's Sheffield seminar, and I remember picking you up and taking you there, and you were absolutely blown away. But prior to that, you must have seen something in the presentation that made you think, you know what, this suits me. So how did it fit in with what you were looking for at the time?
Initially, I started going for a walk in my lunchtimes because I had an hour lunchtime, and I thought, it just occurred to me, you know, in this hour that I have, while I'm walking around, why can't I be putting out catalogs? Okay, and when I saw the video, the first thing that I mentioned to Andy was everybody just seemed happy with what they're doing. They seemed to be happy with the results they were having, and it fitted around the existing commitments, and that's what I was looking for.
Fantastic. It's funny how many people we speak to, and the first thing they go is, oh, everybody looks so happy. And I just think, well, what do you think we're going to do? Put on there a load of miserable people? So that's obviously why you joined kleeneze, and like you say, you've been in it for 5 years. So what have you achieved? What's kleeneze given you in the last 5 years?
kleeneze has made me much more confident as a person. It's given me a lot more belief in myself. I mean, I don't know if you remember, Kev, when I first attended my first 10 Steps meeting, I said, there is no chance whatsoever that you will ever get me to talk on a webinar. You will never get me to talk in front of a group of people. That is just never going to happen, because that just was something I just was not able to do. The words would not come out. I was that nervous, okay? And I've just really become so much more confident, and I've learned so much about managing myself, managing my time, and dealing with people.
Fantastic, excellent. So what have you typically earned then from kleeneze, would you say?
On an average, about £700 a month, so that's about just over £8,500 in a year.
Okay. Can I just ask, what would you have to do in your job, Mark? I know you work full time.
Yeah.
I don't know what you earn in your job, but what would you have to do to get an £8,500 pay increase?
Oh, that just would never happen. I mean, the best increases we get are like 2%. If we do get, some years we just don't get anything at all.
Right, right. So if you wanted to move up that income ladder, you'd have a lot of years to do to start with a 2% increase.
I hate to think how many years that would be.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So what sort of difference has it made then? That I mean, £8,000 a year is a lot of money to a lot of people. A lot of people only work full time for £10,000 a year. So
Yeah.
what would £8,000? What difference has £8,000 made to you and your family?
It's enabled me. I mean, the first thing I bought was a computer. I bought a car. It's made our lives just so much more comfortable, without getting to sort of the second, third week in a month, and then wondering how you're going to manage until the end.
Yeah.
There's no, whenever a washing machine broke down or the car needed repairs, or it was a major crisis.
Yeah.
That's all gone. We just live much more relaxed lives.
Fantastic, excellent, brilliant. How many of you listening to this would like a more relaxed life? Okay, so if I can just ask you, so what's your I suppose short-term vision? Where do you see yourself in the future? Where do you want this? Where are you going now? What's your ambitions for 2016 and onwards?
Well, I'd like to. Oh, sorry, I've got something coming in front of the screen. To improve my income, I'm not driven by money. Okay, I'm driven by achieving things. I like to learn. I'd like, not particularly in 2016. I mean, in long term, I'd like to be able to learn a lot more, things that make me grow. I'm interested in alternative health. If I could have more time to attend courses. As you know, I mean, I've got chronic neck and back problems, and I'm very into exercise. I do go to Pilates, body balance, and yoga. I'd like to be able to go to the gym more regularly, to have the time to do it. I'd like to have a personal trainer. I'd like to typically work sort of 6 to 8 hours in a day. And then the evenings would be devoted to learning. I'm also very interested in reading, but reading good, positive material. And obviously increasing my check and helping other people to increase their checks is what I think. That's better for me than earning money, because I'm not really driven by money, as you probably know.
No, absolutely. Very few people are, Margaret. Usually it's what the money gets them, it's the lifestyle, it's what's available to them if they had money. I mean, let's face it, I think 95% of people work to live, they don't live to work. And if people didn't have to work and they had enough money and had enough time, I'm quite sure they won't be going out trying to earn more money. They'd be using the money they had to live the lifestyle they wanted. And this is the vehicle to achieve that. Fantastic. And just one final thing, what did you get out of the weekend, Margaret?
This weekend, I don't know, every showcase that I go to is better than the previous one. I mean, the testimonials were, Karen has just gone through it, but I mean, Dot McKillen, just absolute, so emotional, just so, the things that have happened to her. I mean, how many people would just stick their head in the sand and say, that's it, that's the end of the show for me,
Yeah.
And Tracy Payne, I mean, well, again, she could have just said, that's the end of it. Life, I don't like life, I'm not going to try and change. I'm not going to try and improve. Look what she's done,
Yeah.
It's, and the 10 steps on the Sunday, we've learned so much about Facebook, about interacting with people, to increase our groups, and also just talking to each other. We've learned so much about how to help each other and what to do.
Yeah, it's
just absolutely awesome.
I mean, it's quite easy. I mean, let's just take Tracy's story, for example. It would be quite easy for somebody to say, I was abused, I was raped, I was everything else. It's not my fault. My life is the way it is. And so many people do that. And yet Tracy's such an inspiration because she's chosen not to use it as a reason to fail, but to use it as a reason to succeed. And we all have these choices. And inspirational. So thank you, Margaret. That's absolutely brilliant, because I know you've never missed a showcase, you never
No.
missed a workshop. You've been to all of them. I know you love learning, and that's what inspires you. However, you're still always learning something in spite of all the in spite of all the webinars and the conferences and that you've been to. You always manage to pick something new up from them.
Always.
And a fine example to your team. So well done, Margaret. Thanks very much. And I would like to say it
You're
was
welcome.
a pleasure meeting a lot of your team at the workshop as well, and the showcase. And you're just following the system. So well done.
It was absolutely fantastic to although I've seen the team members on Facebook, just to be able to meet Rebecca, Gina, and Karen. It was, to be able to speak to them face to face. It was just awesome.
Brilliant, brilliant. You're buzzing. You look great. So cheers, Margaret, and I'll hand back over to Karen. That's brilliant. Well done.